Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for the week of February the 20th through the 26th, 2023. So before we begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone back to this weekly series, and to also welcome anyone who is new to our Angelic Wisdom community. And before we begin, I just want to make you aware of a few things. So first of all, please make sure you subscribe, and also to select the all notification bell, like, dislike, and leave comments. So I can't say it enough how important leaving comments are, and how that's your sharing your insights and wisdom completes the reading of our collective I Am Presence. And also, if you haven't, watched all of the videos, make sure you check out the monthly angel reading for this month. Might be a good time to just check in with it again. And also the zodiac readings, which I published, I hope, I think last week, or maybe a little bit before that. So, they're always good to check back in with them. Some people also watch their, not only their sun sign, but the moon sign and their ascending sign or rising sign. So make sure that you've checked those out. Also, if you'd like to get an angel reading with me, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/services, and you can select the first-time promotional offer reading, which is available to everyone this month. And also, just keep in mind, because it's ending this month, you can, get it now and use it anytime this year. So don't feel like you're doing something wrong. You're not. And also, what else is there? And if you'd like to donate to my channel, just to support the channel, you can go to my link, which is also in the description area below, my PayPal me link. Okay. And just a few things that I'm been getting about this reading, and we'll see. But they were doing a meditation with me this morning over over Giza. So there's a portal there over the pyramid of Giza, and I believe that's something that they're going to do with us today. I just keep getting this call. There's a portal there of oneness, and they had me to send it sort of like a blanket of energy again to different locations on the planet. So if you feel called to join in that work, if that comes up and when we get started, then please, feel free. And I think that there are some things with the planet, with the earth, and I kept saying the word syncopation. And so in music, this means off the beat. So there is some pattern for the planet, I feel, that's off this week. And so whether it comes out in the form of some kind of earth, a natural disaster, we can maybe mitigate it to a certain degree with these energy blankets. It depends on whether or not this is absolutely necessary. And all of these things are, the earth is always balancing itself. So it's like if you eat something that's not healthy for you, you'll get a stomach ache. That's how our body lets us know that we need to make a change and a shift, right? So the earth does the same thing for us. I get this sense that the earth is not afraid or never thinks about its, you know, demise, if you will. Um, just like we were programmed actually to heal, the earth is also programmed to do the same thing. And it's a higher dimensional consciousness. And so, therefore, it has complete faith in its healing ability. And so, when we may not cooperate in the ways that we need to with the planet, then it will let us know, okay? And that is our opportunity to make a change. And so, you know, there are changes that we need to make collectively. And some of the souls this is what they were saying to me, some of the souls have come in at this time and that are leaving at this time, um, knew of the sacrifice that they would make. Because unfortunately, we only respond to something when it really impacts our lives. So just know that all of any souls that have ever passed as a result of a natural disaster were completely blanketed in peace, and their souls were released in total peace and harmony with the universe. And compassion pours into them at that moment before it happens, split moments before it happens, so that their souls were completely caught up in this blanket of love and did not suffer at all. Okay. So, and then there are the changes that we need to make as individuals, right, in our lives. We can do things in our homes that can support the vibrancy of the planet. And so feeling that call is important, and being aware. And sometimes, you know, when things kind of go wrong, I'm getting a sense of the fairies right now, and they know that many people think of them as little tricksters, and I get a sense, you know, of laughter from them. But the thing is that when things like sort of go a little askew within the home, this is their push to get you to make some changes that will be more efficient, and ecologically, there's right in the word, ecologically efficient and for the planet. And what they're telling me is that if you make that change, let's say your air conditioner goes kaput, or your something, and that, you know, it's an opportunity for you to use something that's earth friendly, and you're thinking, it's too much money. But what they're saying is that they will bring the money to you, because they are incredible manifestors of the physical realm, because their sort of energy, or I don't want to say, let's just say their power is working with the elementals, and creating, bringing things, material things into to form. So trust them about that. Okay, so if you starting to notice little things like that happening, then think of a earth-friendly substitute. And even though it might cost a little more, just say, okay, fairies, I'm trusting you. I'm going to bring me what I need to be able to afford this earth-friendly, you know, appliance or whatever it is. Okay, and so let us begin, and let's take a deep breath together. And just open your heart center and allow your heart to receive all the love from the universe as we call in the guardians of light to surround you and to fill your home with the golden Christ light and your energy fields and your chakras, to pour this golden light deep into you and your cells, and to be aware of your feet growing deep and like roots into the earth, connecting in with Lady Gaia. And know that she is connecting with you. And she's pouring into your world gifts, incredible gifts, to support your soul and to support you. And she's helping to fertilize all of your projects. So any projects that you are beginning or thinking about beginning, or you're currently working on, she's nurturing them now. And what she's showing me is sort of a waterfall of energy just pouring in. And before this, she was showing me sort of a tree that was like a lamp. So the branches sort of form this lamp. And they were showing me a lamp at the beginning. This is my symbol for someone who is their crown chakra, and it's someone who's extremely intelligent or spiritually enlightened. But now she's placed the lampshade over her head, and it's a sense of hiding, behind. It's like hiding behind your intelligence, so to speak. I hope that's what, and that's what she's going for. I hope I'm saying it in the right way. I think sometimes we hide behind our knowledge, and we don't allow it to inform us, right? So we have all this information, all this knowledge, but we hide behind it. We don't utilize it to help us to tap into deeper wisdom and knowledge behind it. And so the trunk of the tree, which was like the lamppost, so it was snapped and it bent, and then it lifted away. And there's a feeling of, nakedness, being exposed. You don't have that central intelligence that you sort of shelter in and hide behind. It's like a facade. It's like a projection of ego, basically. And when this is gone, you are left to rely on the wisdom of the universe, your soul, and the planet. You're left with relating to energy, and understanding and translating energies all around you. And everything around you, whether it's animate or inanimate, is given off a signature of energy so that you can perceive when some energy needs to move away or some energy has more need for your attention and therefore more useful or beneficial to you. It's almost like going into a library and being aware of, maybe needing to sort of clear some things that you no longer read and pass it on, and or be drawn to something that you've forgotten that's sitting way up there, something you never read before, something you never really interacted. You got it, but you haven't done anything with it yet. You knew at some point, someday, it was going to be important to you, so you got it at that time, and you knew it was a smart move, and an investment as well. And now is a time to pull those things, those energies into your life and make use of them. So they're writing the word power. And before we started, they are hoping that at this time that we began to shift from this power of aggression to the power of love. And many people have a completely different, like they're like the opposite ends of the spectrum. But power is power. Power is not weak, ever. It's just, maybe you might want to look at it as this is this kind of power and this is this kind of power. And one brings these kinds of powerful results and the other brings these kinds of powerful results. And I'm feeling sort of an energy in my navel chakra. So the navel chakra is a brilliant orange color. And this is about community, unconditional love, oneness. And the kind of power that oneness has, the power of oneness is in the power of we. Where the ego's power is in the power of me, not we. And so coming together to collaborate more, or as today, when I prayed and did sort of a ritual of clearing my home and making it fifth dimensional, I did the same for everyone who would ever be watching this video. Because the power in we is if whatever I'm asking for it also on the behalf of others, then I increase the potency, potential, and power of what I am asking for. Because if it's shared by many, then that means that the vibration is higher, or my intention is more powerful collectively if more are sharing in the same vibrational experience. And I haven't talked about this since sort of the beginning of the year, but it wasn't put aside. It is something, all of the readings, hopefully, whatever you remember that it that it gets integrated, even though we might not talk about it again for some time. But the power of we. The power of we is an opening of the heart and an invitation of the heart to love collectively, to love on a collective level. And so the more that we love, the greater our capacity to love, the greater the power of oneness flows within you and through you and into everything in your life that you desire to be. So giving your compassion to others is not a weakness. Because when you give compassion to another or others, you expand, you call forth more power, divine power, through you, which expands you and everything that you are about. Aha. So when you get all bent out of shape about, egos, and their projection of aggression, which you think is power because they appear to have the courage to roar at the wrong moments for the wrong things. You can roar in love too. But when you roar with love, you're roaring for the right things. You're roaring for justice, right? You're roaring. You're using your power for the benefit of the collective. You're roaring to bring oneness on earth again, where we're all supporting one another, listening to one another, instead of accusing. That's the ego power, to accuse, to blame, to criticize. And this power, no matter how loud the roarer roars, this power seeks to diminish others. So number one, that power is lonely. That power is isolated, even in a crowd, even with all of its little henchmen, whatever you call that, around them, with all the people who are just, whatever. Yes, 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 boss. Yes. Okay. Well, that power is still lonely. And because it diminishes another, it decreases the only power that exists. It creates disconnection. And so anytime that we use our intelligence to penalize or to scrutinize or to humiliate, we diminish our own spiritual power. And that is why the people who are like this, you now see them publicly screaming their heads off like fools because they're so scared. So scared because there's no more power. They're losing control. And what we thought was control is not control. There is no control. That's an illusion. The only control that you've been given is free will to choose how to use power for me or we. And because many are waking up slowly and some very quickly and forcefully, the power of control, this illusion of control, and all the deception that went along with it is no longer holding sway. So now, when people do something who refuse to be about we, they really look like they're about to blow a fuse. And they just might. Pop, pop, pop. And at the beginning, when they wrote death, that will be the result for some of them. And death in terms of passing, transitioning, and death in terms of experiencing a decline in their power in the physical world. The illusion will start to die. And they'll be forced to live in the harsh realities of that. And that is hell. As I learned in my catechist formation for teachers, hell is a state of being. Heaven and hell is a state of being. One in the presence of the Trinity and the other in the absence of it. And so on a spiritual level, we're talking about something very similar here. We, through our free will, can cut ourselves off from our connection by sort of projecting ego. Me, 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 me. My bills, my bills, my bills, my bills. What I'm lacking, my lack of this, my lack of this, my lack of this. You know, instead of we opens you up to know that, oh, I have support. I have people who love me. I have people who can assist me. I have people who can just give me a pat on the back when I need it. See, there's no lonely. Even when you're standing alone and facing something that you know only you have been called to do in the support of we, of oneness, the collective. And so let's just take a moment before we continue with the reading to support and to help manifest. So this is going to also, this portal is going to help us with anything that we want to place it over anything in our lives. It could be a job interview. You can place these blankets over anything to bring the frequency of oneness so that oneness is orchestrating outcomes for the greater and higher good, even for the planet. And so as you take a deep breath, the angels are placing a portal in the shape of a triangle in front of you. And it looks like a gateway that you can walk through. When it opens, it becomes a portal. And you see ahead a shaft of light and a mountain pyramid. And the angels invite you to walk through as they fly above you, guiding you. And now you see the Pyramid of Giza. And just know that you are energetically going there, because this portal, the gateway, opened the portal for you to walk through energetically. And as you get closer and closer, as you're flying towards the top, you come across an angel who is spreading its wings wide. They open so wide. And it's the Archangel Raziel. And she's placing her very large wings around you and everyone in the collective who is showing up at this moment, whether they're watching this or not, or they're aware of this or not. And a tall, brilliant fire dragon is with her. And he rests his head beside her. And he's placing a firewall of light around you. And it opens the portal over Giza in the etheric plane. And as you see this portal of white light showering like a cone from the source down into this etheric plane over Giza, they invite you to step into the portal and receive the downloads of oneness into your 12 fifth dimensional chakras, your physical body, your organs, your cells, and your aura. And they ask you to open your heart and they ask you to unburden your heart now. And it's as if you're hugging an etheric pyramid. And whatever it is that you are seeking support in your manifestations, they ask you to send out a blanket of oneness over the project or over people who need it. And just know that they will only absorb what their soul gives permission to. So you're not usurping anyone's free will. You can use it, you can place this over goals, they say, any goals you have, and over your home, over a loved one. And this is oneness activity. This is the power of love. Because you're inviting the universal energies. So you're co-creating, that's oneness. Being connected with source and the universe means that you automatically are facilitating oneness. When we pray to God or pray to whomever it is you pray to, you are inviting divine energies. And so you're co-creating with your soul. Your soul is asking on behalf of you, and you create a oneness energy field of cooperation, they say. And now they place a crystal ball in front of you. And they ask you to look into it. And whatever land, or some of you might see special sacred sites or landmarks, whatever comes to you when you first look into that crystal ball, send out a blanket of oneness to be placed over it and the land beneath it. And each and every one of you is going to be shown something different, or you may share the same. And know that it is immediately done. There's no fuss. There's no, even if you can't see or sense, know that it's done. And now the angels open the portal again for you to step out. And know that you carry the downloads of oneness within your frequency. And they bring you to the gateway where you can walk back through the portal. And if you need any assistance energetically, the unicorns are offering their back to walk you back to where you started, or transport you back to where you started. And they thank you for your service. So it is. Okay, so let's take a look at the archangel that we're working with. Oh, this is interesting. Archangel Raziel. And his name means the secrets of God. Okay? And it says, seek and you will find, be a wise one. And it's interesting because he has this book open. And we were talking about this information. And I get a sense that he's bringing to you important codes of light, insight, new energies that will come into your awareness for you to start working with. So this could be spiritual wisdom. It could be even something in terms of spiritual technology. So an exercise, a new exercise in your spiritual practice might develop, or even a new skill in your goals, your jobs and careers might develop for you in this week. But it's all about how you use this information. And again, is it for me or we? Because the expansion and extraordinary facets that you can experience will depend on how you choose to use it. And he sent to release any and all fear and know that you're never judged, no matter what choice you feel you have to make. Because everybody's choices ultimately serves the divine. Think of it as like we're all in this grand play, and all the actors are used to teach a lesson of wisdom. So we'll all learn our lessons, but through our actions and our roles in this play of life, we also teach them. This is how wisdom grows and reveals. All right, let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. And so we have the High Priestess. And this is sort of saying to me that we need to take some time in this week to really sit and, really look inwardly, to be aware, make time for that information to come through. And in the High Priestess, it's sort of like you process it. You give yourself a chance to listen, to observe, and to receive guidance about how this information is being used or it desires to be utilized in your life, or the role that you might play in a situation, so that you know what your purpose is, and that you don't, I don't want to say, well, I'm going to say it, that you don't deviate from that purpose or that goal or that plan. You understand that you're part of the divine plan, like you understand your role in the ongoing stories of humanity. And so this takes some patience and careful insight and wisdom. Okay, so we have another major arcana card. And this is Temperance. And this gives us a sense of needing to balance, okay? And one of the things about balance is first being grounded. You can't really and focus. So how do you know what to balance, or how to balance things? And what that balance, what is the appropriate balance? Because sometimes we think of balance as just like being equal. And ultimately, that is where we want to arrive. But at some points, it's like there's a little bit a give and take. And there's a appropriate balance for the situation and for you at this time in your development. And so although we strive towards perfection, obviously, we still remember that we're imperfectly perfect for a reason. And so being who you are is authentic and imperfectly perfect. And you can get to this equality by first being true to yourself, being authentic. So don't try to make this adjustment by trying to please others or to fit into some ideal you think is appropriate. First, be yourself. That is the true balance for you right in that moment. Be the best self, true self that you can be. And that is a challenge. And it's somehow finding focus for what your purpose is, and then grounding yourself. Then that's when the balance can really occur for you. That's where you can somehow discover your truth and be your true self in that moment. All right, so let's take a look at this card for the end of the week. It's the Six of Cups. So here we see, and I gotta just look down here. I mean, we see pictures. We see just a lot of really important moments. She's holding her pet, playing as a child on the swings. Looks like some old friends. It's each one of their shoes, and they make a little circle of six together. Postcards, that Valentine's Day, all these memories. all these memories. And this reminds me of the meditation we did last week, that gratitude. And so perhaps this is the way that you find that balance and reconnect with your purpose by, first of all, just being still. And as you're doing this, to find who you are, to get to the core, to find the focus, just go through that list of all the people who gave you heart activations, meaning that we talked about the smiling, and then like a first memory that comes to you that made you smile and you felt the love. And for me, as I told you last week, it was my grandmother, fixing me a bottle when I was a little baby, a toddler. I had bells on my shoes, etc. And I realized that, oh, there was an activation of love that she gave to me. And then I remember my mom when I was older, in recent years before she died, just cooking breakfast for me on, every morning when I came home to visit, and her hands and the love and so on. And then there were other people who I had conflicts with, but I also had a moment, a heart activation moment with that person. And what it really showed me is that everybody at some point has offered us a heart activation. And that kind of level of gratitude, talk about equality and oneness, helps us to understand that we sometimes focus on the wrong things. And it's not to excuse people's behavior, but we can't allow someone's general behavior to cause us to not be able to heal within ourselves the relationships that we're having with them. And if there's one thing that they did to put a smile on your face, to just really focus on that. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the card from the bottom of the deck. And I'm just taking a look at this. I see. It's a tattoo. Someone who's doing a tattoo work. So it's the Eight of Pentacles. And this is someone who has, honed a craft, and now they're being compensated for it. So it seems like you might be just sort of recalibrating, and because I keep saying the word compensation, and it's about somehow maybe getting in touch. Maybe you've lost touch with who you really are and your purpose in something that you're already doing, or there's something that you're not doing, and you might discover it through this process in this week. But either way, it's about really getting in touch with why you do what you do and why you love what you love, so that you can start loving what you love again and being compensated as you deserve, right? And so that if we're not getting compensated in the ways that we deserve, is because we might be forgetting what we're worthy of. Because we've been distracted on ego projections of I'm lacking this, that whole, whatever those stories are, and that decreases you. Every time you think about what you don't have, that diminishes your spiritual power and the support that is all around you waiting for you to call it in. So you might want to go back and ask the angels to take you to that portal of Giza, but don't abuse tools either, right? You have to trust them. If you go, you have to be ready to trust. If you ask for help, you have to be ready to believe and to trust. Have faith. And then the work really becomes focusing in a way that helps you to find balance, right? Through gratitude of all the beautiful memories that you had. And even there might be some memories that are not, but maybe there's a lesson and maybe the wisdom makes you smile that you gain from that situation. So if you can't get past a negative one, think about who you would not be if that had not occurred, and who you are because it did. And they write, yes. All right, so I send you lots of love, compassion, and angel blessings. Have a beautiful week, and God bless you.